Hey, what's up, y'all? So today I had an amazing conversation with Christine Bernat, and she is like an EFT specialist, right? So she really helps people with like PTSD and anxiety and stress and all of that stuff. And she has an amazing technique that she uses to help children and adults to be able to center themselves and create a space that is safe for them. So I think you're going to love this conversation. I think it's really going to bring you some wisdom too, right? Because a lot of times we don't think about how to help our children regulate, how to help our children understand that their emotions are all over the place, but they can center it and bring it back. And some that goes for us as adults, right? So check this out. You won't want to miss this episode. What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I am so excited you guys are here. You guys are freaking killing it. We are now over the 100,000 downloads. You guys are really showing up and showing out. I want to make sure that you keep growing this community of amazing human beings that I find to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe, all that amazing stuff so that we can get more people on this community. Because you know what? There's a lot of like ugly stuff in the world, and I'm trying to bring some good stuff out here. So let's go ahead and meet like amazing humans. Are you ready? Because this woman is amazing. Okay, so she's Christine Bernat. You don't pronounce the T, I was told. So she is a certified EFT Master Practitioner, a stress management coach. Now, Christine is a beacon of resilience, having transformed her personal challenges into a mission to empower others. Now, for nearly 3 decades of teaching, Christine has faced pivotal moments battling chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, major depression, and PTSD. Defying expectations, she rose from being told that she would spend her life on sick leave to developing groundbreaking techniques that give you like quick relief from stress and anxiety. And all of us know we need that in our lives. Now, she's the creator of the revolutionary Snap Set Go. I love that. And snap, tap, zap, because she's trying to give me a tongue twister going on over here. And her techniques are here to really just help you navigate this. So I am super excited that she is here because she is going to take us on this journey and on insights and techniques that help us live a really balanced life. And we all know that we are looking for balance everywhere, Christine. We're trying to find it in every way. So I'm so glad you are on Straight Talk. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Neena. I am so excited to be here with you. And what an amazing introduction. Thank you. I'm
It's
super
your
excited to
resume,
be.
woman. It's your resume. So I am really excited that you're here. I love my community. So I have a really great group of humans. I really, really do. I'm really excited about all the years I've put into Straight Talk because amazing human beings that just love to love the people that I have on the show, but also like to have really good, candid conversations, right? We've all been through some stuff, Christine. We've all been through some stuff. And I feel like this is a great place for us to show others that you are not alone and whatever you've been through can be your superpower. So I'm so glad you're here. But before we get into the nitty gritties of all the amazingness that you do, I do want to get to know you. So who are you, Christine? Who are you?
Well, I am someone who is learning, getting to know myself
I love that.
because for 50 plus years, I was who everybody expected me to be.
I
I
so
was the
understand it.
people pleaser. Anybody relate to that?
Hmm.
I was the one who, my dad would say jump, I'd say how high. My husband would say jump, how high. And the day I decide I wasn't saying how high, man, did that rock the world around me. But
Yeah.
it took a while for me to really find myself. And it wasn't until after 30 years of teaching that I completely crashed that I
Mm.
started to really find those solutions that I needed so that I could find my inner strength and I could be my own superhero.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, took a lot of courage. It took me being brave and daring to um do things that I was told were impossible,
Mm.
especially by some of my family members, because they don't need to always say it out loud, do they? Their
That's right.
facial expression, their way of putting a comment somewhere, or literally saying, "That's impossible, Christine." You know, I mean, I told my parents one day, I have geese on my deck. And in unison, they both said, come on, Christine, that's impossible.
Oh, oh my
And
gosh.
it just goes to show you the extent of their beliefs of
Yeah.
impossibility, right? That
Yeah.
I had bought into, right? Because
Right.
I bought into it. Even if we don't want to look at that part, when we are ready, able, and willing to look at that part, that's when change really, really starts happening in our lives. And I've
That's true.
super intuitive, so I think this is super important for your community.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way I found to be able to accept some of the things, because my healing journey was a huge part, was accepting what I had done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Mm-hmm.
shared this on many podcasts, and it still saddens my heart a little bit. But one day my daughter said, "Oh, Mom, you were so dramatic." This was in about 2021. And I said, "Oh," so my son's driving, and I said to him, I said, "Oh, honey, Emily thinks, do you think," oh no, I just said, "Do you think I am dramatic?" He says, "Oh, Mom, you're not dramatic. You're neurotic."
Oh my gosh. Any more labels?
So I think I put it in the present and meant to put it in the past. You were neurotic, because obviously if I had still been neurotic, he wouldn't be driving in a car
Right,
with me in
right,
the car,
right.
right? He would
Right.
have made us. So when I left being neurotic to becoming dramatic to becoming, and took the steps up to just being me, the calm individual, loving individual that I am. But I had taken so many decisions that I was ashamed of and
Mm.
afraid. It was the fear factor. My fear
Mm-hmm.
factor came to 100, 1,000 out of 100 many days. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. And I don't think I have time. We're not here for 3 hours. So I'll shorten it down a little bit. But it's really finding what it is for you that will help you get out, notice the fear factor you're in and get out of
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
become the superhero of your emotions, of your feelings, and of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
my snap, tap, zap for kids is all about. I want
That's
them
awesome.
to be empowered to release those emotions in a safe way.
Right. Right. I do want
And
to
I,
touch on though what I do want to touch a little bit on what you said in the beginning. Because you said when I started to stop doing those things, people were, stop saying how high, that things started to fall apart around you. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, because I know that what you're really referring to is boundaries, right? Like you finally
yes.
started putting up boundaries around your how high situation. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like, how did that start for you, and what is it that people had a hard time with? And the reason I'm saying that is
Mhm.
because I know that a lot of us who are, people who like to please others, which I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think it's only wrong when you're not even at the point of pleasing you, when you are actually
Yes.
draining you. That's when the problem is a problem. But to please others or to do things for others, I always think that's a superpower as well. And so, but when you put up boundaries, because I had to do this too, it was tough, not just on them, but on my
Yeah.
dependability for them
Yes.
to like me. So, talk
Yes.
to me about that. What was that for you? And how did you start to set those parameters for those who are listening who haven't really navigated the boundary issue yet?
So I think the easiest for me was to get a divorce. But
They got
then,
that tough, right?
oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
I I wasn't able to set boundaries in that relationship in a way that I felt um, where, well, I felt unconditionally loved. And I don't think I was able to unconditionally love him either. We each played a part in it, but I was at a point where there was no way I could live that way anymore. But it was also then I think with my children, and slowly and surely my job, I quit teaching because there's a part of me that, well, I didn't want to be in that type of environment anymore. But at the same time, we didn't have the tools that we needed for the kids. And that brought me, I'm still getting off topic a little bit, so I'm going to come back.
No,
But it
we're
brought
good.
me to creating the Snap Tap Zap for kids. And,
Right.
Something happened in October that was like, oh, Christine, you really need to focus and get this out in the schools. It needs to be there. You cannot die with your song unsung. It needs to be in there. These kids need it now, not in 10 years from now. They need it now. So I think this will answer the question. I know I'm going in a roundabout way, but in the world of EFT, when you tap on meridian points, what you're doing is kind of like a biohack to the amygdala, which is your survival mode of your brain, where unconsciously, because for most of us it's very unconscious, is you have this fear. If you're procrastinating to get something done, I can almost guarantee you 100%, let's say 99.9%, that it's because there's a hidden fear back there.
Oh, yeah. I
If you
agree.
don't want to set your boundaries, right? There's a fear, the fear of not
Mhm.
being loved, the fear of, I mean, it goes on
Rejection,
and on.
loss. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. Yeah.
And it's the guilt too. There's so much
Yeah.
guilt and shame when you start setting boundaries. I was
Mhm.
tested just in the last year and a half because my parents moved into my neighborhood, and the stress of the move. I mean, my mom is 84 today and my dad's 89. So they need a lot of support to move at 82 and
Of course.
87 into a new home, leaving a nice big country place to just a small home with a small, lot. To them was devastating.
I bet.
And but they needed to, my mom could see that they needed to do this. But then again, wasn't asked, oh, Christine, are you willing to help us? Is this a good idea? It was just, we're moving in your area. And then all of a sudden I saw the hours I was spending and it was like, whoa. And I almost did a mini burnout in April. And I was like, okay, a year ago. And I'm like, nope, I really need to sit down and decide what makes me feel good. How can I
Yeah.
help them and feel
Yep.
proud that I'm helping them? And
Mhm.
how can I say no? Because when you're dealing with people that can be narcissistic, they're codependent, they're whatever it is that their issue is or their diseases are, right? Some people
Mhm.
are very controlling, some people are very codependent, and the list can go on. Some are manipulative. So, how do you learn to set boundaries to respect yourself?
That's right.
Well, my
That's
easy
right.
question is, let's just do snap, set, go. The community will love this. They can do it with us if you're in Neena. It only takes a minute. Do you have a minute?
Okay. Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it. Let's do
So
it.
we're going to snap our fingers.
Okay.
Take a nice deep breath as you scan your body, and we're going to tap on the sternum, roughly at the heart level. Relax the shoulders and exhale. Notice what happens to your body just doing it once.
Yeah, your whole
And
body
then
relaxes. Feels
it's
good.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That takes 9 seconds. Okay,
Right.
let's take another 9 seconds. Snap, breathe in. As you scan for 3, relax the shoulders for 2. And I'm going to have you bring up an incinerator and blow in it. So imagine it and blow in it. And there's another level of, you
So
somebody
good.
said to me yesterday, it helps us recenter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before
And it's
you're in
simple.
contact,
Yeah.
and it's so simple. Yeah.
Right.
So before
Yeah.
you'll be in contact with these people, you do it before you walk into the house or the restaurant, wherever you're going, or the job or the meeting with a boss or whatever it is. You do it before. You can go to the bathroom. Everybody goes to the bathroom. You recenter yourself. And if you need to tap on meridian points and you don't want it to show too much, you can tap on the finger points. At a table, can you tell I'm self-regulating right now? You can't
Right.
tell.
Right.
But
Right.
every time I tap on a meridian point, I'm sending a message to my amygdala telling it I'm safe. Even though my emotions, my feelings, or my thoughts are saying, no, you're not. No, you're not. This happened way back then, and it might happen
Mm-hmm.
again. And people who have anxiety, the fear of future, of course, it's always there. I had to self-regulate before I came on with you, Neena,
Yeah.
because I
know.
mean, I've come a long way with being on camera, but the last time I was on a year ago, my body would jump like this every now and then because I was just too nervous. The whole nervous system was still triggered. Now I can sit here and I can relax with you and enjoy the conversation, which is
That's
like,
good.
finally, but I've had
Yeah. I
so
mean,
many things. Go
I
ahead.
love that you gave us those tips too, because, I think we all think, that it has to be like this huge thing where you have to go and meditate for 2 hours, or you got to go and journal, and all of that is good. Meditating is good. Journaling is good. Like all that, whatever works for you, works for you. But sometimes you don't have that luxury. You are sitting in the middle of a meeting, or you're about to go into a big meeting or a big interview or a big client or whatever that is. And so to be able to do this technique really quick, Christine, is really, really good. And I love the snap, and then for those of you who are listening and can't watch, we're tapping like towards the center of the breastbone, to the center of the chest. And you're tapping as you're breathing in and out, as Christine directed us. And so what I love about that is it's free. So
Yeah.
you guys don't have to, think about like, oh, I need to go pay for a masseuse right now. But these are things that we do need to self-regulate. And what's happening, and I don't know if you believe it or agree with me, Christine, but a lot of stuff is coming at us too much. It's like social media and the news, and now it's the political climate right now is ridiculous, right? So all the politics and all that, and it's hitting you at full force all day, every day. And even when you're trying to not be a part of it, you'll get a text or an ad or a notification, we have too much going on. And I do this too, where I regulate myself throughout the day. I have PTSD, I do have, but I have ADHD. And if I don't take deep breaths and center myself and regulate myself, I also am like all over the place, right? And one other thing I wanted to add to your amazing point there is, I want everyone who's listening to understand that boundaries is about love. Boundaries is about love, not just for you, but for others. Because when you set boundaries, you can love them more. Okay. Now, they might get pissed off at first. They might get angry with you. They might not want to deal with you because you're arrogant or whatever they want to, shovel your way. And the reason they do that is because they're now afraid. They're now afraid because now the boundaries have been set and they're like, oh crap, now what? But I want people to understand that boundaries is, I feel it's about love and about caring and about compassion, not just for you, but for someone else. Because what happens is when you don't set your boundaries, you start to loathe that person being around. You start to get angry. You get frustrated. You start thinking negative thoughts. Like it just start. I mean, are you agreeing with that, Christine? Do you agree
I
with that?
totally agree with everything you said. 100%. It explains a part of my life.
Yeah.
And I would say what happens to the other person is the fear of change.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's happening. This is
Right.
not the way it is. And I can tell a story. There's one of my brothers that called me when he saw what kind of marriage I was in and stuff. almost every weekend for years on end. And then all of a sudden, one day, he called me and blasted stuff at me, like put me down, told me what my goals were impossible, blah, 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 blah. So I just listened because he kept saying, listen to me, and he did not realize the effect it had on me. So I took the time off. And when I was ready, after quite a few sessions of self-regulating and releasing the trauma, there's two things that happened. One, he became the mirror of some of my fears, showing me that I was starting to feel that what I was wanting to accomplish was impossible without realizing.
Oh, wow.
It was showing me what was in my unconscious at that time. I can see that
Right.
today. I couldn't see that then. Okay, so there's that part. The second part was I needed to believe more in myself, right? And I lost my thought on that. What was it? Yeah. And oh, yes. So when I was ready, I'm self-regulating. I'm tapping, I'm breathing the whole time I'm talking. And I said, because I love you, because we spent so much time talking to each other on the phone, I don't want to end this relationship. However, I will need to do it for my own sanity if
Wow.
I cannot express myself without being told that it's impossible. Have you thought of it? You're nowhere near that, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, and he apologized and went on, and our relationship was fixed. Often we're
So
afraid to
good.
take that step, right? We're
Yeah.
afraid
So
to
good.
say it. But
Yeah.
what happens is if you're doing snap, set, go or snap, tap, zap, while you're talking to the person, you're continuously recentering yourself. You're continuously calming down your amygdala. So because you're doing that, you're able to stay calm even if they come at you. He could have come at me again with all this nonsense. Well, I call it nonsense today, but these
Right.
opinions that he was sharing, right? But instead, I have found that every time I've had to confront someone or have a conversation with the person, if I self-regulate, it can take half an hour, it can take 2 minutes. They come around and all of a sudden they're like saying exactly what I was saying in the beginning.
Right.
So it's very interesting if you can keep that amygdala calm.
Yeah. And I think that's why what you're doing with, focusing also on helping kids is so important, right? Because a lot of times not a lot of times, most times they're not taught to self-regulate. They're not taught that unless somebody's in the coaching and the EFT space, they know to tell their kids that, but most people don't, right? So we're doing some damage, I think, to kids, where we're letting them actually not regulate their feelings at all, so they just think everything is a temper tantrum all the time, or they are the opposite end of that, where I grew up. Like, you showed any emotion, you were knocked on your tailbone because you were like, shut up, I'll give you something to cry about, type of thing, right? So this
Exactly.
is good. I mean, I wish we had this when I was younger, because that would have helped me through a lot of pain. I was, have a lot of trauma in my life, so that would have helped me a lot with that, because I know I find it very useful today. So tell me about how you're now introducing this to the kids.
So for the kids, I'm super excited. I've been creating it on a 2D animation, doodly. You doodle the
Oh,
hand.
cool. Yeah.
So as I speak, the picture shows up and shows them what to do. So there's hardly no words. There's just my voice and the picture showing them what
So
to do.
neat.
Obviously, there's a
Good.
few challenges for tapping on the sternum, but anyway,
Right.
it'll be close enough. I think it'll be good enough. And I'm creating it for teachers I'm not quite sure if it'll be 12 or 15-day challenge. So they can go through all the steps and then they can go back, or they can just do, when they get to the 15th day, it'll be the whole kit and caboodle, and they can just do it. And it'll be 1 to 2 minute videos. That's it. All
That's
they'll
really
need to
great.
do is press
Yeah.
play. I mean,
Yeah.
I was an elementary teacher and intermediate school teacher for 30 years. I know
Yeah.
that as teachers, we just do not have the time to. I mean, who thought of creating this? When I started creating this, I was like, this is so simple. How come nobody thought of
Right.
it?
Right.
Well, I'm glad they didn't, because I get to
Well, I was
introduce
just
it
gonna
to the
say, and
world.
also, you know what? There's always a space, I believe, made for us. I believe there's a space made for us, and so I help women, usually in senior to mid leadership roles, create their own coaching businesses, right? And the
Mm,
reason I do that is because I don't care if you are a manager like every other manager. It's not true. You have your own wisdom, your own skill set, your own God-given talents that make you unique and different, right, Christine? So even if someone else
totally.
did have it, it's not you. It's very
Yeah.
different. And so the space was for you, is what I'm trying to say. I believe that we have,
Yeah.
this is just my belief. You know, I believe in
Yeah.
God. I believe God gives us these innate giftings and wisdoms and a way of seeing the world, and
Yes.
even the traumas and the challenges in our life to make us who we are today so
Yes.
that we can
Yes.
impact the world in the way we're supposed to, in our own way. That's just me. That's the way I think. Um,
100% agree with
yeah.
you, Nina. Love
Yeah,
it.
that's just the way I feel. So that's why I think that, of course, this is nobody else thought of it this way, because this is for Christine, right? And this is
Yes.
for you
Thank you.
who have been in the world for doing this for 30 years, that now can really speak to the pain points and the heart of that person, right? Which is the
Yeah.
teacher. So I love that you're doing that. That's really a fantastic way for you to not just impact the teacher, but every student and moving
Yes.
forward, because this is something you take through life. This is not
Yes.
just a
Yes.
elementary school thing. So good for you. Good for
I'm
you. That's
also,
awesome.
once I'm done this, I'll create it with a nice animation for the high school kids, because high schools don't want the little,
Yeah. The
different,
high
they
school
need a
doesn't want to
different
read. They don't want to, yeah.
animation, but
But this, yeah.
they're going to love it, because they need to calm their amygdala, they need to recenter and
Yeah.
focus, and
Yeah.
it'll help them. And the
Yeah.
teenage years, our hormones are all over the place. We need to be recentered and to
Yeah.
learn to listen to our heart, not what everybody has told us on TV, in the family, in the
Yes.
religion, in the and that is
Yeah, exactly. You know what too,
yeah,
Christine?
I'm just
Oh, and the right. And you know what also, and you probably already thought of this, but even homeschooling, right? Because
yes,
when people are homeschooling, yes, they're trying to teach their kids the basics of what they need to pass their, schooling, and to
yes,
but to also teach them to self-regulate. That's powerful, right? That's powerful, because that helps the parent and or whoever's doing the homeschooling and the children. So this is just a, for me, like, just a full educational thing, like, just education,
yes.
period,
And I
right?
have
Yeah.
some special needs parents reaching out right now to do this and to see,
Fantastic.
and we're testing it to see how it works with autistic children. And so I'm really, really excited, because I'm convinced, if we as the parent are calm, centered, and grounded. Okay, how many parents here today are calm, centered, and grounded?
Right.
Exactly. We're doing our best, but we're stuck
Right.
in this
Yeah.
rat race and this hamster wheel.
No,
So
it's true.
when we get grounded and centered, kids feel it around them, around us.
Yes. Yes.
And they
Yes.
can connect to that type of energy, of feeling, of sensation.
Yeah.
I know we don't have much time. Do I have another minute?
You have a minute.
Okay.
Go
So
for
I
it.
worked with this little guy that had ADHD and couldn't connect to the kids. He was all over the place. And mom says, he can't stay on Zoom for 30 minutes. Are you insane? He
I
stayed
know.
25 minutes. We had a great session. The
Wow.
second session, he stayed an hour and 23 minutes.
Wow.
He shared with me that he had a rotten carrot stuck in his stomach, that it wouldn't leave, and he was afraid to leave it. And that's how the step with I have a spiraling train in my snaptap zap for
Wow.
kids who picked up the pain from their parents, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Most of them is unconscious, and they're holding it in them, and they're afraid to let it go. because, you know,
Wow.
and I've talked to a parent in that school since and said, oh my goodness, he can share now. He can do this. He can, you know, he can pass and play fairly now. So it was
That's so
really, really,
fantastic. Wow. You know, this is going to be really great for everybody who's listening, especially those who are parents or caregivers of kids or whatever, because,
yes,
you know, ADHD is a huge thing right now. Like a lot of people have it. And also so is autism, right? And I
yes.
have a grandson who has who's autistic. And I'm just thinking about like how beneficial this can be for special needs. So I really, really pray that you get this, you know, get the response that you know feel would be adequate, and get that out to special needs schools, because that's going to be super vital, right? I love what you're doing. I really do. I love what you're doing. I love what you're about. I love your energy. I love everything about you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I'm sure that people who are listening are like, oh my gosh, she can help my blank, whether it's a kid, whether it's themselves. So
Yeah.
how can people like follow you, work with you, see what you're doing, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I have a website, ChristineBernat.com. So Christine, Christine, Bernat, Bernat.com. I also have a retreat this summer for those who want
Oh,
to get away, 5-day retreat this summer in last 30th of starts the 30th of July in the province of
wow.
Quebec in a beautiful national park. They can send me an email, Christine at ChristineBernat.com. They can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, or
Okay.
what's the other one? Instagram. There we
I
go.
know. I know. It's I always say I'm omnipresent. Just find me on any platform. Yeah, because it's a lot to think about. That's great, Christine. Thank you so much for spending this time here on Straight Talk, and for giving us a different angle and something to look at, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't often speak about you know, kids and stuff like that, but I know that a lot of people who listen do have children, and this is a great thing, not just for the children, but for the adults. So let me ask you about the retreat really quick. Is it for adults, or is it for kids, or is it for families? What's it for?
It's for parents and educators
Oh,
who
great.
want
Okay.
to relax, reset, and rejuvenate. It's 5 days with me in a beautiful setting, and where I will be teaching them the snap set go, but at such a deeper level, how to implement it for themselves with their children. But it will really be about taking care of themselves, and it's a small intimate group so that they can I can give some one-on-one attention and group attention. And also I think it will really help some people connect with other you know, educators, parents,
Yeah.
professionals that
Yeah.
work with children as well, obviously are welcome, because we need to support each other. And
Yeah.
if my tool isn't the perfect tool for you, it's the perfect tool for someone else, right? And your
Yeah.
tool can
Yeah.
be the perfect tool. And there'll be time for sharing. What have you done that worked? What
Yeah.
what would you like to try? But it'll be a lot about what is it that you need to release to be more present, more grounded and centered with yourself so that you can give more love, unconditional love to people around you.
That's so good. That's so good. Thank you so much for spending time with us here. I really love this conversation, and I loved taking that moment, even in the midst of our conversation, to pause, right, and to tap. And I love that. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here, Neena.
So good, and it goes by so fast.
I
Guys,
know.
thank you so much. Right? I thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. As you guys know, I have like super duper high energy, and just being around her, I already feel like, woo, I'm just gonna relax and just gonna calm down It's so good. So
Woo!
please make sure that you reach out to Christine. I'm going to link all of her information below. And, hopefully some of you will go on that retreat and really start to dig deeper into this. And what does this mean for you and how to bring it out into the world to other people, your family, your friends, yourself, right? So guys, thank you guys for being here and always showing up the way you do. I love you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Until next time.